And once again on our broadcast, Democratic strategist Christopher Hale is joining us from Washington, D.C. Mr. Hale, good to see you.
Thank you for having me. 2 weeks to go. It's a busy time here.
Absolutely, 2 weeks to go. Despite being less than 4% of the voter population, the undecided voters, as they are being referred to, why do you think they are crucial for the elections?
You know, in 2020 and in 2016, this election was decided by tens of thousands of voters across just a few battleground states. This is a nation of 350 million people, but really this election will be decided by 3 or 4% of the electorate that's undecided. Two things: who they vote for and whether or not they show up at all on or before November 5. So that's why you see, of course, Vice President Harris campaigning with Republican Liz Cheney. I think we now see that perhaps President Trump's going to try to bring back Nikki Haley on the Republican side. They have to court over those moderate voters, and that is the small segment of the electorate that's left. So it makes total sense these last 2 weeks of this election cycle will be completely devoted to those types of voters.
All right, Mr. Hale, since you say that, I have two questions for you. One, as you said, less than 2 weeks to go. How is it that people in America still haven't decided? And two, since they're less than 4% of the population, voter population rather, how will the candidates reach them, given that majority of them are Gen Z? And me representing the Gen Z population, trust me, friends and family of mine, they don't even watch the news.
You're absolutely right. I mean, so I think that the reality of it is that we have to go to different segments of media, of culture, that quite frankly, we have been uncomfortable going to in the past. There's a famous podcast in the United States, also globally, called Call Her Daddy, which Vice President Harris appeared on. I think that it's really crucial in the next 2 weeks. I hope if I was the dictator of the Kamala Harris campaign, we would be going on Joe Rogan. It's a podcast particularly popular with men like me under 40. We have to go to non-traditional spaces. The old guard of media will not win this election. It's no longer it is truly no longer an old guard. We have to find new pathways. We've been trying that for the past week or two, but now it's time to go all in. So I do think you're absolutely right. The traditional formats are not going to do it. And quite frankly, Kamala Harris her strength is not traditional television interviews. She tends to be quite verbose, which does not lend itself to an environment like that. She does better on what we call long form. So I think that that will be a challenge, though, because obviously those long-form communications get cut up in the clips that go on TikTok. So I think it will be her challenge over the next really 2 weeks here, is seeing if we actually can go into these spaces and win.
Right. You're a Democratic strategist. I think this is a question for you. There is a notion that says that Donald Trump has silent voters. Do you think Kamala Harris is wary of that?
I think so. I think that there is a great possibility of silent voters. There was in 2016. There was in 2020. He has, every time he's been on the ballot from the Iowa caucus in 2016 forward, he has outperformed the polls every time. So look, I think that the fact that we're up 2 or 3 nationally is concerning. I think the fact that we're only up 1 or 2 points in these battleground states is concerning. There is one thing that's our hope, though. I think this is a very strange thing. Historically, Democrats have said, when everyone votes, we win. That has switched. Honestly, the highly educated, highly informed voters, the people who are watching news programs like ours, are more likely to be Democrats. So that if you're showing up, if you're 100% showing up to vote, we are more likely to have you. Really low propensity voters are much more likely to be Trump voters. So strangely enough, for Democrats, so maybe we hope it rains on election day. We need a more narrow segment of the population. If people start showing up in mass numbers, I think Donald Trump, unfortunately, will win this election.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.